security situation in the country for me is such that it's either one security incident is about to happen, is happening, or has just happened. So we are perpetually in a security crisis situation.
The local government chairmen have no responsibility for security. The state, forget the chief security officer, they have no responsibility or accountability for security. Only one person is responsible for security for the lives of 220 million Nigerians, covering over 930,000 square kilometers of landmass. It's impossible. It is senseless. It will lead to only chaos. And sadly, we have not seen the worst of the times.
That enormous power in the hands of an individual who has absolute command and control is both unitary and centralized. The impacts of such form of government is evident and clear in our daily lives. Nigeria as a sovereign nation is challenged by ravaging insurgency, banditry, kidnapping, cattle rustling, and ethnic clashes.
Then we move. That old woman, she's with her daughter. So they now ask the daughter to join us and the woman to stay behind. The lady protested a little bit and they said they will they will kill her if she don't come. So we keep moving.
They left the old woman there.
Yeah, they left the old woman there.
I can really understand, like you started in your thing, the frustration of a governor that is besieged by security operations to which seems there is no solution. I can understand his feelings. I can understand his anger.
The state of insecurity has become a normalized conversation and daily news headlines.
DIG's son, 3 others injure police officers in excuse me, in Zamfara. Bandits kill ex-GID's son. 3 others injure police officers in Zamfara state. Daily Sun is next. Bandits strike on Abuja-Kaduna Road. Abduct villagers after IGP declared highway safe.
Passengers plying the Abuja to Kano rail line are in for a tough time as the Nigerian Railway Corporation has temporarily halted services on that rail track following reports of an attack on the Kaduna-bound train.
Suspected terrorists have allegedly invaded the Kaduna International Airport and prevented the Lagos-bound Azman aircraft from taking off. TVC News gathered that a staff of National Aviation Management Agency was shot and killed by the terrorists.
Some terrorists who attacked and blew off the rail track of the Abuja-Kaduna train.
Yeah, what happened yesterday, I get to learn from the community that the bandits came in yesterday. If you look down, there's a place just like a forest there. They came in around 8 o'clock that we here. So before they knew, people started running from one place to another. And immediately we alerted the police of Sabotage Division. We want to thank God for the effort they made and the security. They were here yesterday, but they tried their best to check them out in the community. And they really tried. So we are saying kudos to them.
Can you estimate the number of people that were allegedly kidnapped by the attackers?
Actually, we are still finding, because for now, the numbers we can be able to gather are about 15 years about. That's what we're seeing now.
I want to, first of all, use this opportunity to condole with the families of those who lost their lives in the tragic terrorist attack on the Abuja-Kaduna train on Monday night, and also to wish those who are injured quick recovery. It's truly a tragic situation, and the federal government, as Mr. President has said, has put in motion the machinery to ensure that such a thing is not repeated and that we don't witness such a thing again.
The Nigerian Army, which is charged with the responsibility of protecting the territorial integrity of the country, fight day and night to keep the peace and stability, sometimes at the expense of their lives.
Soldiers are dying every day. So we can't make light of the sacrifices of the men of the armed forces. They are dying every day. They are putting themselves in harm's way every day.
Late Brigadier General Abdurrahman Umar Kulia was born on 2nd February 1968 in Kano and hailed from Kano Municipal Local Professional Soldier and earned his profession as follows: Lieutenant, 10 September 1993, Captain, 10 September 1997, Major, 10 September 2001.
But we must also always understand that this is the way terrorists behave. They will be quiet for quite a while, if my records are correct. Since about 4 months ago, the military has done everything to curtail them on the Abuja-Kaduna road and Kaduna-Abuja rail. But you see, like all terrorists, they seek for one dramatic, attack that would wipe out or seem to want to wipe out whatever successes the military has achieved over the years. But we must not forget that despite this, sad incident, the military has been working very hard and they have been recording successes in their fight against terrorism.
The security challenges facing Nigeria have continued to affect the economy.
Look at what's happening to employment, for instance. If jobs are not being created, existing jobs are being wiped out in low or zero investment, because those who can have this money are not inspired to invest. You don't invest in an environment where you're not even sure of your life, let alone your investment.
If you are projecting GDP growth of 6%, 8%, you want to put 100 million people out of poverty, for example, what are the security support systems or programs that will help you achieve that GDP growth? How are you ensuring resilience? Because if you understand the Nigerian political context, there will be political interest, there will be concentric forces, regional forces, as it were, interest, politicians, issue of corruption. How do you map a risk register to your GDP projection and say what would be the sources of risk to us achieving this projection, and what must we put in place to mitigate this risk?
To take, for instance, your staff, whether it's the whoever it is that you're hiring, whether it's a driver or something, and then perhaps what you used to spend, if you are spending 10,000 monthly on fueling your generator, office or car, and then these figures continue to rise, or somebody who, middle of the month, someone says, Oga, how you doing? So you find, your staff, everybody feels it, including me. You don't know how many people who have to call me on a daily, and so everybody is just feeling this thing. What it costs you to run your deliveries? You have documents to deliver and to distributors, you have your dispatch riders, you have your vehicle repairs, telephone bills, everything just skyrocketing.
Governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, is asking the military to bomb the terrorists out of existence.
The problems of banditry and terrorism in the Northwest far outweigh what we are seeing or we have seen ever in the Northeast. It is time for the Nigerian Air Force and the Army to bomb these terrorists out of existence. With the declaration by the Federal High Court that these bandits are terrorists, nothing stops the military, the police and other security agencies to take extreme action to terminate these bandits without prejudice.
But is that the way to go, considering the rules of engagement?
The issue is when you look at carpet bombing as it is being meant, it is meant as indiscriminate bombing over a large area. Unfortunately, the laws of war or the laws of armed conflict or the laws of attack do not allow us to do indiscriminate bombing over a large area. What the law requires is either you do area bombing or precision bombing. Now, I have looked at what all Governor El-Rufai is saying. Sometimes I am comfortable to hear him saying, we know the exact locations of these bandits. We know where they are. We know where their camps they are. Now, if we know where their camps are, if we know their exact location, then certainly we are not talking about carpet bombing. We are talking about precision bombing because we are going after a specific target. However, on other occasions, I've heard him saying, bomb the whole forest. I know, in fact, on his own word, he said, I know there will be casualties and everywhere there's casualty. Unfortunately, the laws of war does not allow you to carpet bomb. Whether I kill civilians, whether I kill bandits, I don't care. Unfortunately, you do not have that luxury. The laws require you always to take all feasible precautions, that is the phrase, all feasible precautions to ensure that civilians, innocent civilians, are not harmed.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo sees terrorist attacks in a different beam.
There is no redeeming feature of this. It is just purely evil. It's cowardly. There's nothing there's nothing it achieves except to just cause fear. And for some people, of course, there might be profit, those who are trying to kidnap and all of that. But I think that it also reinforces our own belief that we must continue to provide the kind of security and surveillance that is required on the rail tracks. And that, of course, is something that we're very actively doing.
What then is the problem, and why has Nigeria's security structure been unable to curb insecurity?
It's baffling to me too, because the budget allocation to the army is quite humongous. It's quite humongous, and just a let me say majority of it goes into recurrent expenditure. I quite understand that running a campaign or running a security assignment as large as what the army thinks it can do calls for a lot of logistics implications. But then where you have most of what goes into such a budget being expended on what you call recurrent, everyday expenses, then the whole thing begins to look like the budget itself is a cash cow. A cash cow in the sense that different aspects of the military operations is actually eating from that budget to the extent of recurrence.
You have to start from the design of the security architecture of Nigeria. So you start from design. There's a design problem, and the structure we have is defective, and that's why I say it's a design problem. It's like we say, if you're a carpenter, every problem will look to you like a nail and you need a hammer. So that's the, like I say, our national security doctrine is chaotic. Okay, there's a psychological problem there. We are caught in the throes of the past. Hitherto, if there were issues, once you rolled out the soldiers, everybody would beat their slippers and then pack up and then go. But in the threat environment today,
because of our history of military rule, whereby the military has been the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive, I see a tendency of the political holders, a tendency for them to be reticent, to be hesitant about holding military and security agencies accountable. In a democracy which we are practicing, wherever we are practicing democracy, the supremacy of the political leaders over the instrument of violence, could it be police, could it be DSS, could it be Nigerian military, is not in any question. So whereby the political masters find, I had yesterday the debate at the National Assembly, we have given them everything, we have given them everything. Did you follow to see what they did with the everything in quotation? Because the military or the security agencies might contest this everything. But I've heard we have given them everything. It's not just giving everything. I always give the analogy, we are all family men, of giving your wife money for the children's food and for school fees. If unfortunately you are not blessed with a good wife, she might decide to go and do ashobi, or to go and impress people in a distance while your children are starving. So the point I'm making is not just budgeting money, it's following the money. And where the people do not do as they are saying now, the political masters have every constitutional and democratic right to take sanctions against people if they are sure that is what's happening.
While these challenges are ongoing, education and economy lay at the base of the problem.
In 2020, the same army found 450 billion naira, out of which you spend 35 billion on capital expenditure, and then the balance on recurring expenditure, 400 billion plus. You prefer to spend, this same country, you spend over 200 billion naira cleaning your mess with importing fake fuel, fake petroleum products, 200 and something billion naira to clean up the mess. You prefer to spend, I don't know how many billions, and it didn't take time. Of course, no, our humanity is still there. So yeah, you recognize that people are in distress. So you spend, I don't know how many billions, flying people and wherever from Ukraine, I mean, which is good, but you spend that kind of money, and then ASU, I don't know how much ASU is asking for, and then, you know, it's lingering for forever. So you find that there is just no sincerity. There is no sincerity among us, and I'm careful not to drop this blame on anybody's particular, on a particular person's table, because it's a collective failure on our part.
So yeah, there's the internal issue of incompetence, gross incompetence, and that's also occasioned by our educational system. You say, what's the link with security? Well, national security is threatened if you don't have bright minds. Our educational system was set up to produce administrators at the time to replace roles filled by the colonials. We still head on to the ideology. We don't have an educational system that fosters innovation. Even the colleges of technology are a shadow of themselves. There's no funding for research and development. We're not doing anything. There's a lot of Nigerians producing and engineering missile systems in the US. They are born Nigerians. So in terms of national wealth, in terms of the know-how, we have people who have the know-how, but our emphasis to technology, innovation, and development of our defense industry is very poor.
Another contention is the issue of political will on the part of government and the military.
And one of the things the President has decided to do is to fast-track the installation of an integrated surveillance and monitoring system, not just on the rail track or on the Abuja-Kaduna rail, but also to install a similar thing on the Lagos-Abuja and also on the Warri-Itakpe, Ajaokuta. to ensure that at any given time, 24 hours, 7 days a week, would be able to monitor from our control room those who want to sabotage our tracks and terrorists that want to, attack trains.
What I can tell you is where there is politics involved, then the political will or no will to do it will have to come from government.
The presidency is the commander-in-chief. He does not share his powers with any of the governors. He has absolute control over the use of force within the territory called Nigeria. So he sets the tone of that sense of security, or what you want to call body language. If you cast your mind back a bit, body language was the norm in the first 6 months of this current administration. And that tonality pervaded society, as it were. And certain people at the time voluntarily were returning loots. If we remember, the price of dollar to the naira crashed. Dollar gained up. The exchange rate was about 170 to $1 at the time. And so we all felt that body language would last. So that's just an analogy to reinforce the saying that leadership sets the tone of security or the sense of insecurity.
At the end of the day, are these challenges surmountable? If so, how?
The federal government recently provided, about 150 MRAPs trucks, about 100 trucks, about 60 APC. In addition, the federal government ensured that they employed about 10,000 more personnel into the military. Also provided accommodation for the military and for the army. And when you look at the Air Force, for instance, the Air Force, the federal government procured the Super Tucano, 12 of them, provided the 3 JF-17. This is we call it Thunder aircraft fighter. In addition to other platforms that have been provided for the Air Force.
Definitely, we have no choice but to overcome second Nigeria anywhere. Not everybody has a plan B. Not everybody can grab a passport and run out to some other climes. Personally, I can't. So the military is either going to give us a solution. Our leaders are either going to give us a solution or they are going to give us a solution. 2 options. The rest is up to them, military and civil.
There is no solving it tomorrow. It will take minimum 10 to 20 years of a drilled, concerted effort to pull us out of this state we are in, because we are sleeping, and we're sleeping very fast.
Nigeria is the only country we have, hence we must do all we can to keep it safe and peaceful. This will require the efforts of both government and citizens.